Hello and welcome back to All Things Money. I'm your host, David Blain. Thank you for joining us on Election Day 2012. Is when I'm recording the show. By the time you're listening to it, the election will be over and we'll know who the next president will be. And so I thought it would be useful to cover some of the very important tax issues that are up in the air that are going to affect you. And depending on who wins, there may be a different outcome. So we talked about a lot of those in the first two segments. If you missed it, head on over to our website, www.dlblain.com, and you can catch up on the archives there on the website. But we've got a lot more to go through, so we want to keep moving here. We left the last segment talking about the estate tax. The current estate tax exemption is $5.12 million per person. So that means a couple can leave $10.24 million tax-free to the heirs, which I think is a great thing. I don't think the government should come in when someone dies and confiscate their money. However, next year, the estate tax exemption is scheduled to fall way back to $1 million, and the maximum tax rate is scheduled to go up to 55%. And remember, this tax, estate tax includes such as things that life insurance proceeds. When life insurance is paid out, although it's income tax free to the beneficiary, unless you have that policy owned by a life insurance trust, it's included in your estate. So if you take someone with, let's say, $500,000 in savings, and they've planned ahead, and maybe they're a young, professional, and they have a couple $1 million of life insurance, well, that is counted as part of your estate. The value of your home is also part of the estate. And so there are a lot of things that get thrown in for estate tax purposes. And in the year 2012, it really doesn't take that much for someone to get thrown into over $1 million for estate tax purposes. So it's currently $5.12 million, scheduled to go down to $1 million. Most of the proposals, most of the bills out there have the 2013 estate tax exemption falling somewhere between $3 million and $5 million, with the maximum tax rate somewhere between 35% and 45%. I think there will be a deal to get something in that range done. Of course, if President Obama is reelected, probably at the lower end, or possibly not even getting a deal done. If Romney wins, I think they'll start procedures to repeal the whole thing. Kind of the same thing with the gift tax. The gift tax, the past several years, has been tied to the estate tax, which I think is a good thing as well. There used to be different limits for gift tax and estate tax, and now it's been sort of integrated. Same thing there. I think depending on who wins, that the amount is going to depend on who wins. But I do think that most sides agree that you'll possibly see some integration between the two rates in the future. All right. So those are some of the big ones. Let's get down to some of the smaller ones. We've got a few minutes left. A lot of these, I think, are going to be extended no matter who wins. And it's kind of fascinating that, people don't want to raise taxes, and yet a lot of these things that are already on the books as scheduled to expire, nobody is willing to make the hard decisions. It's all about, soaking the rich and making the rich pay more, which is not going to solve anything. I mean, if that's your opinion, that's fine. The point is, it's not going to solve anything. And, making, the top 1.5% pay more tax isn't going to fix anything. And a lot of these issues that they just keep giving these little bones in the tax code, and they keep signing off on them, and they keep extending them. And so consequently, things never get fixed. The tax credit, I have 5 children. I love the tax credit. Of course, I don't really not eligible for it, but I'm all for the tax credit. It costs a lot of money to raise kids. It's scheduled to drop from $1,000 to $500. I think that will get extended. The earned income tax credit, The rules have been more generous recently, helping lower income families. You know, I personally think the whole thing should go away, but this will get extended, I think. There's just not enough political will to do away with it. It's too big of a freebie for people. The child care tax credit, or getting a tax credit for putting your kid in daycare to work. I think these rules will be extended once again. Higher education tax credit, which can be worth up to $2,500, the American Opportunity Credit. I think that will get extended through 2013. The higher education tuition deduction can be $4,000 or $2,000 depending on your income. I think this will be actually expired in 2011. I think this will be retroactive for 2012 and extended through 2013. Student loan interest deduction, I think that will be extended through 2013. The Coverdale Education Savings Account, the amount is scheduled to drop from $2,000 to $500. I think that will get extended. The Employer Educational Assistance Plan, I think that will get extended. So all these educational things, the child tax credit, earned income tax credit, higher education credit, American Opportunity Credit, anything to do with education, I think both sides, they're going to extend those. And I think the charitable donations for the IRA may be too late for 2012 to bring back because you kind of have to get it done by the end of the year, but I think for 2013 they may bring that back. Well, that's a lot of changes. If you missed it, once again, head on over to the website, dlblain.com, and you can catch up there. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again next week.
The proceeding was a paid program. The opinions expressed are not necessarily those of WNBU and Inner Banks Media.